Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the Primetime News on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. As the Anglophone crisis deepens further, the humanitarian situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon continues deteriorating. According to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, 1.3 million people, including 680,000 children, are in need of humanitarian aid. This is contained in the organization's last report on the Anglophone crisis. Also in this newscast, we'll be giving you a full package of updates on the African Nations Cup, but also concerning information concerning the United, or better still, the Lionesses of Cameroon, who have been booted out of the World Cup in France. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I am Babla Jonathan. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, sees 1.3 million people, including 680,000 children, are in need of humanitarian aid in the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And this is contained in the organization's last report published in Switzerland. For me, Armstrong Sander has more. For me, Armstrong Sander, with that report containing details on the statement issued by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, on the deepening socio-political and security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And in the report of the international organization, it is said that 1.3 million people, including 680,000 children, are in need of humanitarian aid. For me, Armstrong Sander. We'll be coming back to that report in a short while. In the meantime, we go now to the Southwest Regional Chief Town, Boya, with Derek Jato, who is going to be taking a look at efforts by religious institutions and personalities or officials to restore peace in the crisis-hit Northwest and Southwest regions of the country.
The President of the Episcopal Conference said,
the National Council of Religious Leaders for Peace in Cameroon recently converged on Boya for an interreligious prayer service. The war in the Anglophone regions is still on, with death and destruction of properties being recorded on a daily basis. There is no peace anywhere, and men of God are going back to the Creator of Creators for intervention. The turnout here at the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon Boya Station was very timid. Many say confirms the fear which is living with the people in this part of the country. And then the Men of God Boya declaration, first to the government.
We, the leaders of the Protestant Council, the Islamic Superior Council, the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, and the Orthodox Church of Cameroon, we are making the following declarations to the government. We call on the government to redefine and control the mission of the armed forces in the two regions in crisis. We call on the government to punish in accordance with the law all persons, military or civilians, who commit violent attacks, burnings, and destructions of property or extrajudicial killings. We call on the government to promptly initiate and announce the national plan for resolving this crisis, taking into account its real and profound causes in view of establishing veritable peace.
And then to the Cameroonian diaspora.
We call on the diaspora to respect the sacredness of human life and children's right to education. They should put an end to the trivialization of human dignity and the hostage-taking of schools. To the armed boys, we call on the armed boys and all armed groups and individuals to value and respect human life.
And they have also taken an engagement.
Our engagement, we the religious leaders commit ourselves to denounce and fight together all forms of violence and injustice and the desecration of human rights and dignity until justice and peace returns to the entire territory of Cameroon.
And now that the Anglophone crisis is increasingly a continental cry, the population of these regions pray for the internal and external forces to yield fruit, for the war to end.
Derek Jato reporting there, and one of the persons who have been very vocal speaking about the Anglophone crisis is the legal mind Barrister Agbo Bala, who is the founder and president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa. He's one of the persons who have been condemning the gross human rights violations that are being recorded, as well as human rights abuse in the two Anglophone regions of the country as a result of the Anglophone crisis. And this is what has given him the opportunity to grab the prize of Human Rights Defender of the Year in Africa. And of course, Derek Jato spoke to Barrister Agbo Bala and compiled this report.
The 2019 Shield Award winner, in recognition to his valuable contributions to the advancement of human rights in Central Africa, returns to his country, Cameroon.
The award night took place in Zanzibar, Tanzania, and we had the president of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights who was there to give the award, to grace the ceremony.
Talking to Equinox Television, Barrister Felix Agbo Bala came back on the body that gave him the award.
Well, the award was given by African Defenders, a Pan-Africanist organization with headquarters in Uganda.
The founder of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa also said this award is a great honor because it is coming from people of his kind.
But to me, it's an honor because this is an award given by human rights defenders. For your peers in the continent to sit and vote you as the best human rights defender in the region, it goes a long way. Brazzaville is included, Congo Kinshasa, Rwanda is there, Burundi is there, Chad is there, Gabon is there, Equatorial Guinea is there, Cameroon is there, Central African Republic. For you to win from that part of the continent, it shows that it was a tough one, because that's where the highest human rights violations are committed.
Briefing his collaborators at the center, the human rights defender revealed that this award is a refuel to keep the tenacity of defending human rights afloat in the nation and beyond.
And it's also an added impetus and energy for me to keep on doing the work, to protect and promote the rights of people. Try to leave a legacy for posterity. Try to make the world a better place than you made it. The most important thing is that you serve humanity, and to me, that's my driving goal.
Barrister Agbo Bala Felix is also making strides out of the continent.
In Germany, I was a spokesperson at a conference organized on the model AU at Bayreuth University, and another speaker also was the head of the Secretariat of the AU and senior human rights officer, advisor, Ambassador Salad from Sudan, where we talked about the wars and conflicts in Africa. And when I left Bayreuth, I went to Switzerland, where I was invited by Basel Mission and Mission 21 to try to discuss to advocate on how we can find a solution to the crisis. And
the challenge is still huge for this Human Rights Center. For human rights violations, most especially in the northwest and southwest regions, are still being recorded on a daily basis.
And the Popular Action Party, PAP, now has a new executive bureau. The president of that political party is henceforth Denis Njang Tabe, who takes over from the former Supreme Court Magistrate Justice Ayapol Abini, who has been leading that political party over the years. And of course, the president and the other members of the executive bureau of the PAP were commissioned in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, over the weekend. Details with Hemin Iluga.
Like other political parties worried about the situation of Cameroon, the Popular Action Party, via its actors, says it can't be indifferent. In a recent party gathering, the party leaders reiterated their position with regards to the All Anglophone Conference, while as well calling for the resignation of the CPDM's party president, reasons levied being the party's inability to solve the Anglophone crisis, other socio-political crisis, and as well economic hardship plaguing the country for decades.
We talk about our support for the All Anglophone Conference organized. We talk about a negotiation that has to be done, but we need to revisit the 1961 Constitution. We also talked about our resignation that Mr. Biya has failed Cameroonians. That it's high time that he has to resign because he has caused a lot. Many people have died. People have suffered a lot. Many people have been displaced. Houses, we can't count the untold suffering that Cameroonians have undergone just because of an individual who has decided to hijack all the institutions of the country into his hands and refuse to give a listening ear to others.
For the target zones to be then touched, the new theme put in place in Yaoundé, henceforth headed by Njang Denis Tabe, relies on the fresh manpower.
But not occupying this position that I have now. So I can say it's a rebirth for the PAP, but that doesn't mean that the rebirth has to do with going against or going contrary to what the PAP, the stance of the PAP or what the former outgoing president has already put in place as far as the PAP is concerned. We'll continue with what the president had earlier stood for PAP, that's the outgoing president, and as you say, rebirth. We are coming with, as youth, you can see that we are very youthful. We have, as a youth, I think there's no way we are going to come out from or leave the party without creating our footprint.
Meantime, like the Cameroon Renaissance Movement crisis revision of the Electoral Code, the Popular Action Party further declares that participation to any election in the present socio-political conditions only gives legitimacy to the defunct ruling party, a reason why they stand to give in their best for a better Cameroon of tomorrow.
Several children in many parts of Cameroon, especially in the hinterlands, do not have birth certificates, and officials in charge of the civil status registry have blamed the situation on ignorance and negligence, notably on the part of parents. Over the weekend, 95 children received their birth certificates in the Dipumbari Council area in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. Hermine Luka has the details.
After on-the-ground inquiry carried out by the Civil Status Registration Headquarters, it has been concluded that above thousands of children under and above school-going ages in Cameroon do not have birth certificates. Some of the reasons that account for this is said to be ignorance on the part of the population and parents who are less interested in obtaining the birth certificates for their children. Some, however, think only children who go to school do need these birth certificates. These are realities denoted in rural as well as in urban areas. In the Bombari, for instance, the challenge seems tougher for the civil status attendants who have derived strategies to sensitize the population on the need to obtain a birth certificate for a child. To this effect, a number of 95 birth certificates were handed to children whose names were yet to feature on the civil registry by Oti Kwele Ferdinand, who represented the mayor of the Bombari, amongst other representatives of the Bombari Council area.
And the project aimed at enabling school children without birth certificate to have one, because you know that a child without a birth certificate has no identity, without which there is no possible existence for any child in the world.
As voice to the people of the Bombari in course of the ceremony, a birth certificate provides protection to a child, without which the law is incapable of protecting children from crimes and abuse.
Out of Cameroon, we're going to take you to Ethiopia now, where the government of the country in a press release had confirmed the death of General Sia Makonnen during an attempted coup in that country, and General Sia was killed on Saturday evening at his residence by his bodyguard. Immaculate Fogwe files in details.
The Chief of Staff of the Defense Force of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Sia Mekonnen, and a retired general who is said to have been in the residence of the Chief of Staff at the moment were shot dead by the chief's bodyguard. They died trying to prevent a coup attempt against the administration in Ethiopia's northern Amhara region. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, in a recent statement on Sunday, confirms their death and the fact that there was indeed an attempted coup d'etat. According to the statement, the failed coup d'etat in Amhara region was led by a high-ranking military officer and others within the military. The Prime Minister has ordered the arrest of all those who were involved in the plot and urged Ethiopians to unite in the face of evil forces set on dividing the country. The United States Department has warned its staff in Addis Ababa to stay indoors. The Chief of Staff of the Defense
Immaculate Fogwe reporting there. Now in sports, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon will be clashing with Guinea-Bissau in their first encounter in the ongoing 2019 African Nations Cup in Egypt. That will be tomorrow. And in a press conference earlier today or some few minutes ago, the head coach Clarence Seedorf and the indomitable Lions captain Eric Maxime Choupo Muting reassured journalists that the indomitable Lions are ready for that encounter, despite an unfortunate incident that has hit the squad with one of the players who is declared unfit for the encounter. Of course, the team reassured the public, Cameroonians in general, that they are going to be moving up against Guinea-Bissau tomorrow with their heads right up, and they are ready for that encounter, and they are going for nothing less than victory. They also assured the journalists that all the issues that were affecting the team negatively have been properly managed, and the squad is ready for tomorrow's encounter. In the meantime, the African teams that were taking part in the 2019 Women's World Cup in France have been booted out of the competition. The Indomitable Lions and the Super Falcons of Nigeria, the Indomitable Lionesses, of Cameroon, have been booted out of the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. As I indicated, they were beaten yesterday by England 3-0, even amid some irregularities, notably on the part of match officials, and the elimination of Cameroon marked the end of the participation of Africa in that competition, and the Super Falcons of Nigeria were Saturday eliminated by Germany. And that's it for this edition of the news. We'll be giving to you greater details concerning the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations with our special envoys in Egypt in our subsequent news editions and specialized programs.